everyone, today I'm going to do two tutorials, and it's basically the feather nails and the caviar nails that you saw me post online maybe a couple of weeks ago or so. On my nails I currently have Ginger and Liz, and it is called New Money, and also a glitter mix of my own, which is called Tangle Hearts, which is a pretty turquoise and purple mix. And for those of you who have been asking me online, what do I use to grow my nails out? If you've watched my videos in the past, I've said OPI Envy is good, but I recently ran out of that, so I started using this one, which is Perfect Formula. And it is the pink gel coat, and I actually bought mine from QVC when it was on special, but you could probably Google it and see who else sells it for a good price. It's kind of expensive, but I caught it on sale. So that's what I use on my nails every other day. And I'm probably going to put on a coat tonight to help my nails grow a little bit more. I just broke this one, and they are actually growing out fast. So for this tutorial, what you're going to need, a UV lamp. I also have two of these nails, one that I'm going to do the shellac on, one that has polish that's currently drying. You're going to need your shellac. This color is called, let me see, Cityscape. And then I have the, base coat and also the top coat. So there's a better light. You're also going to need either a piece of paper to catch your caviar beads or a small index card so you can dump them back in the container. I have these feathers, and then also these are the actual color that I used on my nails, but as you can see I'm almost out of this color, so this color is similar, so I'm going to use this one as the backup. So you're going to need those as well. If you're doing polish, you're going to need a very thick top coat, such as Seche Vite, color of choice, which in this case, I used Essie Playa Del Platinum. And I think that's about it. So let's get started. So for the shellac, you want to make sure that you really shake up your base and top coat so that the formula is all together, mixed well, and you're going to do that on your color. So for the shellac, you're going to do a thin base coat, which I can't really see on this nail, but you get the idea. And it doesn't, well, it does have to be perfect when you do your nails, but these coats don't necessarily have to be perfect on this one because I'm not going in water and it's not on someone's hand. So let me check that. And it's streaky on the tip. And this color is probably going to come up off these because I did not buff the shine off of this, but it'll be fine. And so in your UV lamp, you're going to cure for 1 minute, and I will be back. Okay, so I'm back after doing 2 coats of my color. Now this is where the next part of this tutorial is by preference. Some people might want to place the flower on the tacky layer of this color and then put the top coat on top, cure, and then cut off the excess. What I'm going to do, however, is I'm going to add my top coat, a layer, then I'm going to stick my feather on it. I'm going to cure the feather into the wet top coat so that it seals down a little bit more, and then I'm going to cut off the excess and then apply a different coat. So just a thin coat of your top coat. And again, it's kind of hard to see how thin of a coat I'm doing on this because the nail is so long and wide, and so you can't really gauge how much I'm putting on my brush on this nail to know how much you should do for a real fingernail, because it's kind of different. I'm just going to work out the tip because that's where I lost some of the product. And I see one little spot, and you probably can't see it because of the light, but I saw it. where my top coat ran out. Fasten that back up. So my 2 feathers, since I'm going to do one on polish and one on this, I'm going to use this one. And what you're basically going to do is place the feather on the nail where you would want it to go, and then you can just drag it into position and tap down on it, but try not to hit the top coat so hard. And you can keep pulling to the edge as much as you like. So that's fine with me. I'm going to do 2 minutes under my UV lamp. I'm going to cure that. So for regular polish, what you're going to do, I think this nail is pretty much dry. You're going to take your top coat, which is, where's mine? My Seche Vite, which is a really good top coat to use in this type of nail art because it's thick, it dries fast, and then you can seal it pretty good too. So I'm just going to take a glob onto my brush, which I do for my nails sometimes. And I'm just going to run it down the nail. I hate that these nails are so freaking long. I should have cut them down before I started using them. Urgh. Now, if you use Seche Vite and you notice that your polish gets thick over time from like using it too much, or the consistency is just not as good, then I suggest, that's excess, then I suggest using Seche Restore. And basically what it does, it returns your Seche back to normal as if you just bought it. And I also have that on my website, or you can find it in a local store by you, but I'm pretty sure I offer it for cheaper. So we're just going to do that. Seche all over there. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that tip since I'm about to drag this through there. Okay, so I'm going to take my feather with clear polish, place it in the middle of the nail. And I like that placement. Tap, tap, tap. And you don't have to worry about the polish getting on your fingers because the feather is pretty thick. And so one thing that I noticed with doing feather nails is you have to make sure that the feather around the edge of the nail is sealed down really good. So we're going to do another coat, and since mine needs some thinner in it, I'm going to use just a regular top coat. Well, yeah, I'm going to use a regular top coat. Okay, so here's another top coat that I'm going to use to go ahead and seal my feather in. And I'm going to go down on this nail. But when it's on your regular fingernail, you could brush upward and it won't come up. See? But sometimes if you find pieces that won't lay down and they want to come up with your brush strokes like these, then I just go down in the opposite way. Just a little bit, just on those pieces. Smooth them out, and then I work my way back up. Then, after the base coat is sealed in, all you have to do is cut off the excess. And there you have your feather nail. And if you have pieces sticking up, I sometimes like to wait until the polish dry, especially on the edge, and I will file down the edge a little bit in case my scissors don't get close up, and plus you don't want the feather to slide by you clipping at the end. So I let that dry for a little while and then I clip it. So back to the shellac one that is now ready. As we can see, I'm going to go ahead and clip this one before applying my second layer of top coat. And if you see that yours raised on the edge, I think mine is raising because of my top coat not going to the edge is good. But if you see yours raising, all you have to simply do is add top coat underneath it to reseal that feather. And I just slide my brush under there. I'm going to push it down. And now what I'm going to do is add my top coat on top of it. Thin layers. But for this demo, I'm doing a hefty one so that it lays down. And of course, now on your real nail, you're not going to, with the shellac, brush down in the manner in which I did it. What you're going to do is, this is your nail. So how you're going to do that is you're going to brush away from your cuticle. So don't do what I just did. That's just for demo purposes. And so after I stuck that down, I'm going to simply either take my cuticle scissors, or I could take an orange wood stick, press it down, hold for a couple of seconds, and now I'm going to cure for 2 minutes. Okay, so for the caviar portion of the tutorial, I already added some top coat, and this is the top coat that I'm using in place of the Seche Vite. It's Nail Tech Ceramic Glaze, and I like the Seche. I haven't used, this is my first time using nail teeth, but I'm assuming it'll work the same way, hopefully. So I'm just going to take my Caviar, or these are actually called Bullion Beads. And Caviar is actually a brand. So I'm going to take my beads and I'm just going to pour them over the nail. Now some people might like to dip their nail, which is fine if it's your own beads. But if you're using this and you do nails, I won't want everybody's nails dipped into the same thing. It's just my opinion. But anywho, so, and this is why you have a card underneath to catch all of the beads. And they will splatter everywhere, which is fine. Do not panic. But you're just going to pour them all over the wet spot. And usually I have a piece of printer paper to go underneath, but my bright idea to use a note card this time, which is fine. And you turn the nail to let the beads fall where you want them to go. Now of course you won't spill as many beads, but I have a habit of pouring a little bit more than needed when I'm doing like glitter or the beads, just because I tap a little bit more. And so if you see any spaces that may need beads, and the tip is one of them, then you could tap. Oh, but if you're curious about the dip method, all you do is take the nail and you dip it straight into the container. Now for me personally, I like to build up my beads on my natural nails so that the you won't see any gap of polish underneath. But that's covered fairly good, I think. But you could always, also another thing is pick up like extra beads off of your paper. Gently tap your nail. So that's how you would do with your own nail. You don't want to tap hard because you don't want the beads to start sliding if the polish is really wet. And there you have it. That is your caviar look. Oh, also, some people ask, you know, if you have spaces, how do you get those? Usually what I do is I just pick up a bead or two and I push it into where I want it to go. And that's how I do that. And for cleanup, simply all I do is, if I had a bigger sheet of paper, I would just fold it, dump it back in my container. But in this case, what I'm going to do is dump this note card back into my container and then slide all these beads onto this card and dump it again. So here is your caviar. Now on my natural nail, what I like to do is a coat of polish on top of it to seal in my beads. and that usually helps. Now some people don't like to do that because they say they lose the texture of it, but from my picture, if you would see my natural nail, then you would see that my nail just looks a little bit thicker, but I still have the texture. You can clearly see that I still have on beads. And so here are the feather nails. This is the polish, and here is the first feather that I did. And the reason I had to figure out, I was like, why is this lifting? Oh, that's getting on my nerves. It lifted because of the top coat underneath, which I've kind of figured out. Maybe the top coat wasn't heavy on it. But when you do a first layer of top coat, your feather is a little bit more shiny to me. And I can see that in person. Whereas if you do the top coat, and this is the second one that I did to make sure that I was right by the top coat, not holding down on that first layer. It wasn't on the edges, that's why my feather flipped up. And as you can see, well, if you can see, kind of, see how the feather loses some of its shine when you do just the top coat? So I did the shellac color, stuck this onto the tacky layer, and then did a top coat on top of it. Whereas this, I did the shellac color, a top coat, left it uncured, then I put on the feather, and then I did a second coat of top coat and cured that. So there's the difference. But I just feel like in person, me looking at it from a distance, I could see more shine in this one than I can in this one. So, and this one is completely flat. So you really want to make sure that you seal the edges of your nails. And again, do really thin coats of shellac. On these, I did kind of thick coats just because the nail is so much longer, and I was trying to get the shellac on there. Because, let me show you what happens when you do it thick on your natural nail. Oh shoot, I thought I had one on there. Well, maybe it's not. Okay. Well, when you do shellac thick on your natural nails, what happens is you'll get these little air pockets, and those occur from the shellac not curing because your coat is too thick and the light is not penetrating. This could be a whole nother video, but I just wanted to mention that because I get a lot of questions about troubleshooting and shellac and how to fix things. So, here are your nails once again, and let me know what you think. And I hope this fairly quick tutorial was somewhat helpful and kind of gave you an idea how to use feathers and nail polish and caviar beads. So let me know. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.